once again become the focal point of a high-stakes diplomatic showdown between China and the United States, the rhetoric sharpening and military posturing intensifying. Beijing has issued a stark warning to U.S. President Joe Biden's top aide, Jake Sullivan, that Taiwan is a red line which Washington should not cross.
Taiwan is a close US ally, and China claims rights over the independent island nation. A tussle that has made the region a potential flashpoint. Both China and the US have ramped up their presence and exercises in the region. Beijing reportedly spent a staggering $15 billion on drills in the Western Pacific in 2023 alone. That's approximately 7% of China's defense budget and nearly 80% of Taiwan's entire military spending. This massive investment in military readiness underscores the seriousness with which China views the Taiwan issue. In a display of diplomatic brinkmanship, China's top military official Zhang Yuxa delivered a curt message to visiting US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan during the high-level talks in Beijing. Taiwan is a red line that should not be crossed.
中美双方今天上午的会面。
During the US-China meeting today, the Taiwan problem was of course discussed. General Zhang Yuxia reiterated that the Taiwan question is at the core of China's core interests and the bedrock of China-US relations, and it's the very first red line that must never be crossed in US-China relations.
中美关系第一条。
Beijing's forceful language leaves no ambiguity. Recent clashes between China and the Philippines in the South China Sea have complicated the regional dynamics. Sullivan, for his part, emphasized the US commitment to freedom of navigation in the South China Sea and stressed the importance of maintaining stability in the Taiwan Strait. As the diplomatic maneuvering continues, all eyes are now on the anticipated meeting between President Joe Biden and Chinese leader Xi Jinping in the coming weeks. Sullivan's meeting with Xi in Beijing's Great Hall of the People set the stage for the crucial summit.
We are committed to maintaining high-level diplomacy, and to this end, President Biden looks forward to engaging with you again in the coming weeks.
As two major countries, China and the United States should be responsible for history, for the people and for the world, and should be a source of stability for world peace and a propeller for common development.
There is no indication if the two leaders could meet in person before Biden leaves the Oval Office. Biden is the only US president in decades not to have visited China in office. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
All right, for more on this, we are now being joined by senior journalist Harold Jones, joining us live from California. Welcome to WION. We're talking about this recent trip by Jake Sullivan to China. How did you view this trip?
Well, it's always important to have dialogue between the two countries, and as frequently as possible. Joe Biden hasn't met Xi Jinping, I think, since the APEC summit in San Francisco last year. Of course, the big question had been, how long would Joe Biden remain in office? He was hoping to have a second term, and so maybe was thinking of holding a face-to-face meeting at that time. But with the uncertainty of the presidential election in the United States, I think it's very important that, or I think it's important to the Biden administration that they have as much contact as possible with China, either to have to set a as stable as possible a relationship before a potentially more aggressive toward China Trump administration comes in, or to pave the way to have a visit and set a good foundation for an administration by Kamala Harris.
What about the tone over support for Taiwan and the Philippines? Do you think that this diplomatic outreach achieved anything, and did it cool down tempers, perhaps?
Well, again, it's always good to have dialogue, and dialogue in any conflict is potentially a way to cool down the temperature, as you say. China obviously has a long-term commitment, is not easily going to back down from their claims in the South China Sea, and increasingly, as we've seen, toward the Philippines. So at least for now, yes. I think in the wake of such a meeting that Jake Sullivan had, including the planned contacts and discussions between military leaders on the both sides, that will ease tensions, at least in the short term.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for that analysis, Terrell Jones. I look forward to speaking to you again very soon.
All right, thank you, Susan.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.